I pledged that we would bring back American liberty and leadership and make the United States the crypto capital of the world, and that's what we've done. These are not the words of a Silicon Valley visionary or a blockchain pioneer. These are the words of the President of the United States, Donald Trump, spoken as he signed a piece of legislation that could fundamentally rewire the global financial system.
A staggering $245 million in political donations from the crypto industry paved the way for this moment, a moment that culminates in a bill ominously and perhaps ironically titled the Genius Act. Today, we delve into one of the most significant and controversial financial laws of the modern era. What is this new stablecoin law, and how is it poised to transform everything from your daily payments to the very foundation of the US dollar's global dominance? We will expose why crypto insiders are calling this their biggest victory, a validation of their entire industry, while seasoned financial watchdogs are sounding the alarm, warning that America may have just rolled out the red carpet for criminals and rogue nations. And crucially, we will unravel the political machinations and personal interests that turned a crypto-skeptic president into the industry's most powerful champion. This is the story of how a digital Wild West fought for legitimacy and won. The question is, at what cost? The journey to this historic signing event was a long and calculated one.
For years, the world of cryptocurrency has been a chaotic frontier, a digital landscape famed for its breathtaking innovation, but equally notorious for its speculative frenzies and devastating collapses. For every story of a Bitcoin millionaire, there were a dozen tales of scams, hacks, and lost fortunes. The industry knew that to survive and truly thrive, it needed to step out of the shadows and into the mainstream.
It needed a seal of approval from the most powerful government on Earth. It needed legitimacy. The key to this legitimacy, they wagered, was not in the volatile assets like Bitcoin, but in a more predictable and potentially revolutionary technology, stablecoins. Unlike other cryptocurrencies that fluctuate wildly in value, a stablecoin is designed to be, as the name suggests, stable. It achieves this by being pegged, usually on a one-to-one basis, to a stable real-world asset, most commonly the United States dollar. Think of it as a digital dollar, a token that lives on the blockchain but always holds the value of $1. This stability makes them the perfect tool for traders moving funds between different crypto assets, and it's why their use has already exploded, creating a market valued at over $260 billion today. But the industry's ambition extends far beyond the confines of crypto trading. They envision a future where stablecoins are used by everyone for everything, sending money to family across the globe instantly and with minimal fees, buying groceries, paying bills, and revolutionizing corporate finance. Imagine trying to send $100 to a relative overseas today. The process involves multiple intermediary banks, each taking a cut, and can take several business days to clear. With a stablecoin, that same transaction could happen in seconds for a fee of just a few cents, directly from one digital wallet to another, bypassing the entire legacy infrastructure. This is the disruptive promise that has captured the imagination of innovators and investors alike, a truly frictionless global financial network. To achieve this, they needed rules. They needed a regulatory framework that would make banks, retailers, and everyday consumers feel safe using this new form of money. And that is precisely what the Genius Act delivers. The new law is a monumental piece of legislation. It passed the House of Representatives with a decisive vote of 308 to 122, a rare display of bipartisan consensus, with nearly half of all Democratic members joining the Republican majority in support. This level of cross-party agreement is virtually unheard of on such a divisive and technologically complex issue, signaling a fundamental shift. It moves cryptocurrency regulation from the fringes of political debate squarely into the economic mainstream, recognized by both sides as a critical component of America's future financial strategy. The law establishes, for the first time, a clear regulatory regime for dollar-pegged stablecoins. At its core, it addresses the single biggest fear associated with these assets, the question of whether the money is actually there. The law mandates that all stablecoins must be backed by highly liquid assets, specifically cash in the form of US dollars and short-term, ultra-safe US Treasury bills. This is a direct response to catastrophic crypto meltdowns like the infamous collapse of Terra Luna, an algorithmic stablecoin that wasn't backed by real assets and evaporated $40 billion of investor value in a matter of days. The Genius Act is designed to prevent such a disaster from ever happening, with a dollar-pegged stablecoin operating in the United States, replacing risky algorithms with cold, hard cash and government debt. Furthermore, the law demands radical transparency. Issuers of stablecoins are now required to publicly disclose the exact composition of their reserves every single month. This means anyone, anywhere, can look under the hood and verify that every digital dollar in circulation has a real dollar sitting in a vault to back it up. For crypto companies and their executives, this is the holy grail. They argue that this legislation will supercharge the credibility of stablecoins, finally giving traditional financial institutions like big banks the confidence they need to adopt and integrate this technology. If you believe this push for transparency and regulation is a game changer for digital finance, show your support by hitting that like button. We're about to explore the explosive potential this law unleashes, and the numbers are simply staggering. For the crypto supporters, executives, and lawmakers gathered at the White House for the signing, the atmosphere was electric. This was more than just a bill. It was a coronation. This signing is a massive validation of your hard work and pioneering spirit, President Trump declared, solidifying his role as the industry's new figurehead. The potential rewards are almost difficult to comprehend. The investment bank Standard Chartered released an estimate earlier this year that, under this new legal framework, the stablecoin market could balloon from its current $260 billion to an astonishing $2 trillion by the year 2028. That's $2,000 billion. To put that in perspective, that is larger than the entire current economy of countries like Canada, Brazil, or Italy. This isn't just about making crypto trading easier, it's about creating a new pillar of the global financial system. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent echoed this sentiment in a formal statement, arguing that this new technology wouldn't replace the dollar, but would instead buttress its status as the world's reserve currency. The logic is compelling. By creating a trusted, regulated digital version of the dollar, the United States expands access to its economy for millions globally, and, in a stroke of financial genius, boosts demand for its own debt. Because stablecoin issuers are now required to back their tokens with US Treasuries, this massive $2 trillion market will become a new, captive buyer of American government debt, potentially helping to finance the nation's spending. It is, as Trump put it, good for the dollar and it's good for the country. Or is it? While the crypto world celebrates, a chorus of dissent is growing louder, and their warnings are dire. Critics, including many Democrats and financial transparency advocates, argue that in the rush to embrace innovation, Congress has created a law riddled with dangerous loopholes. Their first major concern is the glaring omission of any restrictions on big tech companies. The law, they say, should have explicitly blocked giants like Meta or Google from issuing their own stablecoins. Allowing these already immensely powerful corporations to also control a form of digital currency could consolidate their power to an unprecedented and dangerous degree, giving them deep insights into the financial lives of billions of people. But the most urgent and alarming criticism centers on national security and financial crime. Critics argue the Genius Act contains woefully inadequate anti-money laundering protections. Scott Graytack, the Deputy Executive Director of Transparency International US, delivered a scathing verdict. By failing to close known loopholes and protect America's digital dollar infrastructure, he warned, Congress has risked making the US financial system a global haven for criminals and adversarial regimes to exploit. This is a terrifying prospect. The fear is that the speed and anonymity of blockchain technology combined with weak regulatory oversight, could make these new stablecoins the preferred tool for terrorists, drug cartels, and sanctioned nations like North Korea or Iran to move illicit funds with impunity, all under the veneer of a regulated U.S. financial product. Let's paint a clearer picture of what this means. A shell corporation in a country with weak financial oversight could issue its own dollar-pegged stablecoin. A sanctioned oligarch could then anonymously purchase millions of these tokens. Because the tokens live on a decentralized blockchain, they can be moved across borders in an instant without triggering the alerts that a traditional wire transfer would. The oligarch could then use these regulated US dollar stablecoins to purchase luxury real estate in Miami or New York through another series of anonymous wallets, effectively laundering their fortune in plain sight. This is the nightmare scenario that keeps national security experts awake at night, a system designed for efficiency becoming a superhighway for illicit finance. The law's failure to prohibit foreign stablecoin issuers from operating within the U.S. system is another massive red flag for these critics. It opens the door for companies based in jurisdictions with lax oversight to gain access to the heart of American finance, creating systemic risks that could be incredibly difficult to monitor and control. The critics' argument is simple and powerful. In its eagerness to become the crypto capital of the world, the United States may have inadvertently built a new, high-tech back channel for the world's worst actors. The dream of seamless global payments could become a nightmare of unchecked illicit finance, destabilizing the very system it was meant to strengthen. The debate pits the promise of economic innovation and dollar supremacy against the peril of financial crime and systemic risk. And at the center of this high-stakes gamble is a president whose own journey into the world of crypto has been as surprising as it is controversial. How did a man who once tweeted that cryptocurrencies were not money and based on thin air become the architect of this new era? The answer, as is often the case in Washington, appears to lie in a potent combination of politics and money. The industry's lobbying effort was nothing short of a masterclass in political influence. The donation of over $245 million to pro-crypto candidates during last year's elections, as tracked by the Federal Election Commission, was a clear and strategic investment. President Trump, a major beneficiary of this support, openly acknowledged the industry's role during his presidential campaign. At the signing ceremony, he thanked executives for their support, framing the law as the fulfillment of a campaign promise. This transformation wasn't just rhetorical, it was personal. The president, a branding mogul at heart, launched his own meme coin, the $Trump token, in January. Furthermore, he holds a partial ownership stake in a crypto company named World Liberty Financial. His pro-crypto agenda was formally institutionalized in March when he signed an executive order establishing a strategic Bitcoin reserve for the United States, a move signaling a deep commitment to integrating digital assets into the nation's long-term economic strategy. This series of actions paints a picture of a president who has fully embraced the crypto revolution, not just as a matter of policy, but as a core part of his political identity and, potentially, his business portfolio. The crypto industry didn't just get a law passed, they got a powerful and personally invested ally in the highest office in the land. The ink on the Genius Act is barely dry, but its ripple effects are already being felt across the financial landscape. Reuters reported in May that the nation's largest banks, which have historically been cautious and even hostile towards cryptocurrencies, are now internally debating a significant expansion into the space. The government's strong regulatory backing has provided the green light they were waiting for. While their initial steps are likely to be cautious, focusing on pilot programs, strategic partnerships, or limited crypto trading, the direction of travel is clear. The wall between traditional finance and the digital asset world is crumbling. At the same time, crypto-native firms are racing to breach the wall from the other side. Several major companies, including Circle, the issuer of the popular USDC stablecoin, and Ripple, are actively seeking official banking licenses.
If granted, this would be a paradigm shift, allowing them to cut costs dramatically by bypassing the intermediary banks they currently rely on.
We could soon see a world where crypto companies operate as fully fledged banks, offering a suite of financial services built on blockchain technology. What would this new breed of crypto bank look like for you? Imagine a savings account for your digital dollars that offers an annual percentage yield far higher than anything a traditional bank can offer, generated from decentralized lending protocols.
Picture getting a loan where your crypto assets act as collateral, approved in minutes through a smart contract instead of weeks through a loan officer. This is the vision, a more efficient, accessible, and potentially more profitable financial world built from the ground up on a new technological foundation. What do you think about this convergence? Is it a healthy competition that will benefit consumers, or a risky merger of two vastly different cultures?
Let us know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to Crypto Compass to stay ahead of the curve on these historic changes. In the end, the Genius Act represents a profound fork in the road for the United States and the global economy. One path leads to a future envisioned by its backers, a revitalized US dollar reigning supreme in a new digital age, powering a global system of instant, low-cost payments and fostering a new wave of American innovation.
It's a future where a robust new industry creates jobs and strengthens the nation's finances by creating massive demand for its debt. The other path leads to the darker future warned of by its critics, a financial system with built-in vulnerabilities, exploited by sophisticated criminals and hostile nations. A future where the power of big tech grows unchecked, and where a catastrophic failure of a major stablecoin could trigger a financial crisis with global repercussions.
President Trump has made his bet, casting the nation's lot with the pioneers of the digital frontier. He has declared his intention to make America the crypto capital of the world. Now, with the stroke of a pen, that vision is becoming a reality. Has the United States just secured its financial dominance for the next century, or has it opened a Pandora's box of risk that it will come to regret?
The world is about to find